All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a massive conflict happening in our schools. It's this huge clash between the promises made to protect teachers and the incredible pressure they're under to perform. Let's break down this dilemma. It really all starts with this simple, raw, frustrated question. A teacher gets a pile of new initiatives, a bunch of educational jargon, and just asks, what on earth does this actually mean for me? That feeling, that search for clarity in all the noise, that's what we're digging into today. So to really understand that teacher's frustration, we have to start with the official story. This is the polished language, the mission statements that school districts put out there. It's full of these big aspirational ideas, but what are they actually saying?
I mean, just look at these phrases pulled right from a district website. Future-ready learner profile, data-informed reflective processes. They sound really impressive, right? Who doesn't want excellence and inspiration? But if you're a teacher on the ground, this edu-speak can feel like a whole other language, and you're just left wondering, okay, what am I actually supposed to do?
Okay, so that's the official story. Now let's get real. Let's talk about the teacher's reality. We're going to translate all that jargon and see what it actually means for the day-to-day job of teaching kids. So the main tool for pushing all those big ideas is something called a PLC, a professional learning community. Now in theory it sounds great, collaboration, right? But in practice, it's a mandated meeting with a very, very specific data-driven agenda.
And what's really wild is how much the PLC has changed. Look at this. What used to be a time to maybe plan field day or just share a cool lesson idea with your colleagues has turned into this high-pressure, high-stakes meeting. The focus isn't just on teaching anymore. It's on churning through student data, documenting every single intervention, and proving you're following the district's playbook. And this really just nails the fundamental shift, doesn't it? The job isn't just about teaching anymore. It's about generating data that proves learning happened. And you've got to do it in a way that can be tracked, measured, and sent right up the chain of command.
Okay, so this whole shift from teaching to proving with data, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It brings us right to the heart of the conflict, this clash between the promises made to teachers and the intense pressure put on their schools.
This quote from the source material just says it all. Teachers feel like they're trying to jam two puzzle pieces together that were never, ever designed to connect. It's not that you're having a hard time meshing them, it's that they are fundamentally incompatible. They just don't mesh.
And here they are, the two competing forces. On one side, you've got the guardrails. These are the promises from state lawmakers designed to protect teachers, things like legally protected planning time. But on the other side, you've got the requirements from the Texas Education Agency, the TEA. And these are the high-stakes demands, A through F accountability scores, and that constant, looming threat of a state takeover if your scores aren't good enough.
And at the very heart of those promises is one specific, legally mandated number, 450. That's 450 minutes of planning time every 2 weeks that every single teacher is supposed to get, by law. This is meant to be their shield, their time to breathe.
So let's be crystal clear. What is this time actually for? The law is very specific. It's for a teacher's individual work, planning lessons, grading papers, calling parents. And here's the kicker. The law explicitly says this time cannot be used for the very things that are eating it up. Mandatory team meetings, required PLCs, or any other committee work.
But wait a minute. If that planning time is protected by law, how does the workload just keep getting bigger and bigger? Well, the pressure doesn't just come from PLCs. It creeps in from everywhere, especially through the delegation of what used to be administrative duties.
Committees have become the perfect tool to pass down accountability. Things that were once core responsibilities for administrators, like handling the discipline process or writing the school improvement plan, are now being delegated to teams of teachers. This chart breaks it down perfectly. You see that behavior support team? The official purpose is meeting student needs. The actual purpose? Creating a legal paper trail. And the campus leadership team? It's sold as shared leadership, but its real function is to write the campus improvement plan, a huge job that the principal is ultimately responsible for. Basically, the work of running the school is becoming the work of the teachers.
And just look at the new discipline process. It used to be send a student to the office. Now it's this complicated, multi-step, data-driven documentation process that is led and carried out by a team of teachers. This isn't just discipline, it's practically case management, and it's been dropped right onto their plate.
So this brings up the million-dollar question. If teachers have legally protected time, how can districts possibly require all this extra work? especially when a lot of it happens outside of contract hours. Well, let's talk about the loophole.
First off, the available time gets squeezed. A small change, like adding just 10 or 15 minutes to the student day, might not sound like much, but look what it does to a teacher's after-school work time. That small change can wipe out a quarter of the buffer they used to have from meetings or grading. Just gone.
Which leads us to the question that every single teacher in this situation asks. How can my principal legally make me stay late for meetings that just don't fit into the day anymore?
And here's your answer. It's this one sentence, probably buried deep in a district policy handbook somewhere. This sentence is the contract loophole. It says that your professional responsibilities will often require time outside of official school hours. You see what this one sentence does? It creates two different jobs. You have your duty day, which is the time you spend with students, and then you have your work day, which is everything else. And that workday has no defined end time. It makes all that extra work an unpaid but legally defensible expectation.
And how is this expectation enforced? Not with a legal argument, but with the most powerful phrase in all of education. It's what's best for kids. It suggests that if you try to protect your time, you're being selfish, that you're putting yourself before the students. And that is an argument that is almost impossible to win.
So what do? What's the big takeaway here? First, you have to know your rights. That 450 minutes of planning time is your strongest legal shield. It cannot be used for mandatory group meetings, period. Second, know that you can challenge unreasonable duties through a formal grievance process. And finally, and maybe this is the most important thing, document everything. Every meeting, every date, every minute. Write it down.
Which leaves us with one last critical question. When the promises from policymakers clash head-on with the intense pressure of the accountability system, who is left to bear the burden? As we've seen, the answer is pretty clear. Thanks for tuning in.